So, I just saw Supergirl, and all I have to say is, Okay, obviously I have a lot more to say about the movie because if I didn't, I'd be a pretty lousy YouTuber. I was excited for this movie, I really was. So before you click off the video, make sure you're clicking off for the right reasons. I'm not one of those chutted out grifters who thinks that Millie Alcock is ugly. A movie about a woman really shouldn't be this charged, but I guess it is, so I have to address this. I thought this movie was incredibly mid. And this has nothing to do with the movie being woke, okay? There are definitely some woke movies out there. This is not one of them, okay? Unless you consider movies about women being trafficked to be woke, in which case, I don't think you're fit to live in society. With that annoying clarification out of the way, let's talk about the movie, which is what these reviews are supposed to focus on. Oh, and by the way, there will be spoilers for the whole movie. It's a movie review, so obviously. Welcome to Cape Cowl Cafe, I'm Nemo, and today we're going to be talking about Supergirl. Is it good? Not really. If you guys enjoyed the video at any point today, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like and subscribe button. But let's hop right in. Okay, so I really wanted to enjoy this movie. I went into the theater positive, optimistic. I was ready to like it, and I definitely was not one of those people that were swayed by the grifters telling you that this movie's gonna be terrible despite not having seen the movie. I wanted to see it and come up with my own opinion, and I did, and I didn't really like it, and that just... it breaks my heart, because I love the DCU. I love how this has all started. I loved Superman, and I want to see it succeed. I want to see the cinematic universe flourish and, become something that can really compete with the MCU. But the thing is, we cannot be complacent with mediocrity to achieve that goal. We cannot be fine with bad movies or mid movies just because... if they review badly, then we might not get the next installment in the universe. We should not be okay with mediocrity just because we want to see more and more. That's not cool. So I'm going to give my honest review of this movie. It's not great, okay? The first real issue with this movie is the pacing. We snap from scene to scene way too quickly, and we don't get time to really live in this world or get to know the characters or the places they visit. I was really confused by the pacing because this is a very personal story. There aren't world-ending stakes and there aren't a million characters to jump between, so why did it feel like we didn't get to spend any real time with them? Now, I just want to clarify, none of my issues with this movie are with the performances, except for maybe Krem. I really liked the way everyone was playing their characters. I thought the cast was perfect. The problems are with the pacing, the editing, the script, the music, pretty much everything else, okay? I really liked Cara and Ruthie, but I didn't buy the whole sister bond that they had at the end of the movie. Like, there were a few genuine scenes where they slowed down and talked and bonded, but they only scratched the surface. I think one of my biggest issues is that I just wanted to see more from everything. They played it very safe with this, and almost every concept and character is barely explored. Like, I wanted more Cara, more Ruthie, more Lobo. Definitely more Lobo. I don't think he referred to himself as the main man once. That's like his whole thing, Like in the scene where Lobo was sitting in the prison, Ruthie was there. I thought that she was going to ask him for help and he was going to say something like, "Oh, the main man don't work for free." Like that. I don't know. He wasn't really Lobo. He was fun, but they didn't go far enough with him. I'm just a little disappointed by him because Jason Momoa really is just the perfect casting. And I don't think that they used him to the full extent, I wanted more. So I did enjoy what we saw for him, but I feel like they underrepresented how powerful he is as well. I mean, maybe he'll show up in Man of Tomorrow and we'll see him in a proper fight, who knows, but in this movie, all he really does is ride his bike and swing his chain, and he doesn't do anything else. Kara's character arc felt very undercooked. The beginning of the movie made an effort to let us know that Cara doesn't like Earth and she doesn't want to live there, and that's why she spends all of her time off planet drinking, but at the end of the movie, she's totally willing to go back to Earth and she's happy living there, but it's not really clear as to why. She doesn't have any kind of eye-opening experiences. She doesn't have a crazy change of heart. She's just suddenly okay with living on Earth, but there's no real reason for it. I also wish we got to see more of her on Earth. We have some of the scenes with her and Clark and the scene where she's laying in bed with Crypto, but that's it, if she doesn't like Earth so much, show us why. I know that, she's upset because her people are gone, whatever, but again, I just wanted to see more. And as for the rest of her arc, I wasn't buying the whole, just be good theme that this movie was pushing. Her problem wasn't that she wasn't a good person, she was just depressed and wanted to drink her days away in space. Being depressed doesn't make you a bad person, so I'm not understanding, why this theme is the one that they were pushing. And she didn't really start the movie with any major flaws. I guess you could say that she only got involved with Krem because he shot Crypto, and yeah, that's bad, I guess, but besides that, she didn't have any kind of real character-changing experiences. Usually, whenever a character becomes good or redeems themselves, it's because they have to make a hard choice. They have to sacrifice something for the greater good. Cara doesn't really sacrifice anything. And with the message of this movie, with be good, and the way the story was going, I thought that Ruthie was going to get poisoned or shot or something, and that Cara would have to choose between her and Crypto. I'm glad that didn't happen, because I like Crypto, but again, I was expecting more. Now, I know that some people are going to be upset that she killed the main villain, and I'm a little iffy on it, but I'm actually going to defend it. She's not Clark, she can definitely have a different moral code, and I think that her killing Krem was like an act of mercy. She knew that taking revenge on Krem would have broken Ruthie and sent her down a dark path, and Cara didn't want her to go through that, so she took one for the team and took him off the board. And besides, this man definitely had to go, okay? He was such a weak character and showed no signs of remorse or anything, so that he would have just did it all again. I'm not saying that you have to redeem him, because of course you shouldn't. He's an evil, murdering human trafficker, but I feel like Cara should have been more concerned about representing the House of L. She is a symbol, and it would have been nice to see her have just at least a little bit of conflict within herself about killing. Maybe we could have gotten a scene where she confesses what she did to Clark or something. I don't know. Again, I just wanted more. Also, some of Kara's jokes didn't really land for me, and they felt kind of cringe, like the whole, "Oh, looks like this isn't going to end well for you guys." I was like, really? Come on. Now, speaking of Krem, what a lame villain. Okay, I was not intimidated by Great Value Taserface at all. At the end of the day, he's just a guy. And yes, Krem is also just a guy in the book, but he's a coward who gets other people to fight for him. I hated how every scene conveniently started with Cara getting nerfed so that Krem and his goons could fight her. Superman did this whole weakness thing way better. In that movie, they used kryptonite once. It was just in the prison scene, and for the rest of the movie, he was Superman. In this movie, we have the green sun, the red sun, the super roofie that the human traffickers give her. We got the kryptonite darts. There's just too much. I get it, Supergirl is really strong, and you have to find ways to make the bad guys more formidable, but there's a better way to do it. You know what? Here, I'll fix this right now. Why not just have Krem hire Lobo to fight Supergirl? Supergirl could then fight somebody as strong as she is, Lobo would have more of a reason to be in the movie, and maybe he could double-cross Krem at the end and switch sides. That would have been way better. Lobo, he didn't really do anything the whole movie. It was kind of pointless. He was fun, it was nice to see him, but if you switched him out with a different character, nothing would have changed. Another thing I didn't like was the visuals. For a movie that takes place in space, this film is pretty bland looking. There is nothing interesting about any of the planets we visit, and they either look like a Guardians of the Galaxy set or Scotland. I wanted more color from this movie, and it just wasn't there. The only planet that looked interesting was Krypton before it was destroyed. I liked the whole white and gold theme, even if I would have preferred all the Kryptonians to be dressed like this. I'm just really struggling to find things that I liked about the movie, and anything I did like, I also felt like it could have been improved. The music was fine, but there wasn't a theme that stuck in my head. I can't remember any of the music except for that awful and out-of-place needle drop at the end. When you walk out of a movie, you should have, the main theme stuck in your head. With Superman, it was the dun, bum, 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 or the Batman, dun, 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 dun. There wasn't anything here that stuck with me. I can't remember any of the music, and I think that's really disappointing, especially for, a movie about Superman's cousin. At least use some of the Superman motifs. It's okay if they share themes. They're they represent the same symbol, come on. Now, when it comes to the action, it was fine, but I felt like the Superman, Supergirl power set was really underutilized here. Supergirl didn't a ton of, super fighting, She mostly just stayed on the ground and was, punching and kicking people. I feel like the Superman movie was way more creative with his powers in combat. He was flying around, spinning, lasers were flying everywhere. I feel like they didn't really do anything that interesting with her until the very end, and then that one scene in space where she's getting shot at by the pirates. That was it. And like I said before, Lobo was severely underpowered, and I feel like not a lot of people realize how incredibly strong he is. Like, he can go toe-to-toe with Superman. He's a tough guy, and all he did in this movie was swing his chain around. That was it. Also, Ruthie is way more capable in the book, and she doesn't do a lot here. You know, like in the book, she's fighting dinosaurs and she like beats Krem in a 1v1, and here she's like just nothing. Again, I just wanted more. Some of the CGI was really awkward, especially when Cara would look at the camera while flying. The suit looked great, and I think that specific design fits Cara better than it does Clark, but I don't know, like, I don't want to be that guy, but why did she only wear it for the last 20 minutes? In the book, she was wearing it the whole time. Like, I'm here to see Supergirl. It's 2026. Are we really still too embarrassed to have the main character wear the costume for the whole movie? Like, come on. Plus, if she wore it more, it would be more believable when Krem just knows how to use kryptonite. Why do all of these random-ass space pirates just have access to kryptonite, you know? In Superman, Lex Luthor makes it very clear that kryptonite is exceedingly rare. Like, it's gone. That's why he had to kidnap a metahuman who can just create it from his body. So, like, I don't know. You know, I just felt it was way too convenient. Okay, my thoughts are starting to go all over the place, so let's focus on something else. Now, just like Superman, this movie makes some changes to the origin story. While Cara is usually there to witness the destruction of Krypton, here she was born 8 years after the planet blew up, which, by the way, means that she was born 8 years after Clark, and if she's 23 in this movie, that makes him 31, and we can finally lay that mystery to rest. Anyway, I didn't mind this change. You know, she still loses her family, they all died of kryptonite poisoning, and that's the important part, you know? The whole city of Argo assumedly dies to, like, the poisoning, because they find kryptonite in the soil or whatever. That's fine, okay? We were all under the assumption that she saw Krypton blow up, and that's why she's drinking her problems away, and while it's not exactly the same, I think it's close enough. Oh, and one other interesting thing to note is we actually do get confirmation on whether or not Clark's Kryptonian parents are actually evil, and they are. It's confirmed in a throwaway line, you know, in the movie. Kara's mom is like, oh, I can't believe they sent that sweet little boy to rule over the planet, whatever. Like, okay, so that means that the whole planet's good, except for these two random Kryptonian Nazis in the corner who happen to be Superman's parents. Okay, whatever. Like, I was fine with that change in the Superman movie because it served the theme of the movie of like, oh, Superman's a human being and he's a Kryptonian second, but I was under the assumption that the whole planet was evil, and I thought they were gonna go that route, but I guess not. Now, I don't think this movie is bad. It's nowhere near the mess that The Flash is, but it also pales in comparison to Superman. That movie made me feel like a whole bunch of emotions, you know? It was a big experience for me. This one didn't really make me feel anything. Like, they tried to tug at the heartstrings with Krypto getting poisoned, but with how much DC has relied on him for marketing in that universe, I knew there was no way that they're gonna kill him off, you know? Like, so it didn't land. Now, obviously, this movie is heavily inspired by the book Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow by Tom King, but the movie's nothing like the book, okay? The only thing that is the same is the setup for the quest. And there are so many good character moments in the book that just aren't present here. Cara teaching Ruthie to wash her hands, Ruthie defending Cara against the alien dinosaurs on the Green Sun planet, Cara talking about her responsibilities as Supergirl. Ruthie even gets her moment against Krem at the end, but in the movie, that moment is ripped away by Supergirl. And speaking of moments being ripped away, I thought Cara was going to save herself after she was shot with the kryptonite arrows, and it felt like we were building up to this epic moment. And then Lobo jumps in, saves her, calls her tits, and then leaves. It just felt a little tone deaf. Overall, this movie had some things that I enjoyed. I liked Cara and Ruthie, I liked Lobo, and some of the action scenes were pretty decent, but even the things I liked felt like they needed more time in the oven. This is gonna sound bad, but I was enjoying myself the most when Superman was on screen. Man, I miss that guy. Anyway, this movie really isn't horrible, but it's also nothing special. So I'm gonna give Supergirl a 6 out of 10. Alright, that's gonna be it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it all, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like and subscribe button, and drop in the comments down below what you thought of Supergirl. Let's talk about it. But yeah, until next time, I'll see you guys later.